Okay, this is the first problem in Quest on Summer Chapter 3. And note though that my numbers in my problem are going to be different than yours, so you need to look at the method, not necessarily the answer, which will be different. So it gives us a reaction, and we want to know what's the maximum amount of this product that we can make given that we have some amount of aluminum and some amount of copper sulfate. Okay, so whenever we're given the amount of two different reactants, we have a limiting reactant problem. So the first thing we have to do is balance the chemical equation, and once we have the chemical equation balanced, then we can look at how much of this product we can make from each of the reactants, and whichever one makes the least is the one that we will make. Okay, so let's first balance this. I have 3 sulfates here, so this is going to be a 3, and I'm going to need 2 aluminums here, and that should do it for me. Actually, I need 3 coppers. Okay. Alright, so I'm going to start with what I'm given here for aluminum. I have 15.82 grams of aluminum. And what I know is that 1 mole of aluminum is 26.98 grams of aluminum. And I know from the balanced equation that 2 moles of aluminum will give me 1 mole of Al2SO4 3. Now I can stop at moles here because then I can compare the moles I can make using the aluminum to the moles I can make using copper sulfate, and then do that last step. Okay, so if I multiply this out, let me just grab my calculator. If I take 15.82 divided by 26.98 times 2 in parentheses, I get 0.29 3 moles of aluminum sulfate. Now I'm going to do the same thing with my 5.69 grams. I'm going to change the color of my pen to do that. So using the 5.69 grams of copper sulfate, so if I take my 5.69 grams of copper sulfate, and what I know is the molar mass of copper sulfate is 159.661 grams of copper sulfate is 1 mole of copper sulfate. And what I know from the balanced equation is that 3 moles of copper sulfate make 1 mole of aluminum sulfate. So if I plug in a chuck here, I get 5.69 divided by 159 this is in parentheses, 61 times 3, and I get 0.011 moles of aluminum sulfate. Okay, so if I look at this, the aluminum allows me to make 0.293 moles. The aluminum, and this should be 0.01188, I'm going to carry some extra sig figs, moles of aluminum sulfate I can make from copper sulfate. So because this is less, this is what I'm going to make. So I'm just going to take that 0.01188 moles of aluminum sulfate. It's always good to take extra sig figs in your problem if you're going to do separate steps, or use the number that's in your calculator, and then convert that all the way through, and then round it at the end to the number of sig figs that you need. Okay. Alright, so I have that many moles of aluminum sulfate and 1 mole of aluminum sulfate is 342.15 grams. Okay, so I'm going to take that number times 342.15, and my calculator gives me 4.0658. Now remember, Quest requires that you put in extra sig fig places because it doesn't round. So I'm just going to give it all of those, and that would be the answer.